What up, world? This is the GoalNet recording live here from outside Chicago. Taking the feedback in the comments section, we are breaking the videos down into shorter segments. Posted the video recently comparing the Axis XF goalie pads to the Axis EF6 goalie pads, and today we're here to take a look at the gloves. For anybody just stumbling upon my channel or my content for the first time, you might be looking at this video wondering what is neither of these gloves have the stock graphic on them. The black set on the left here is the EFlex 6. The gold set on the right here is the Axis XF. This is a modernized version of the original Felix Potvin Coho graphic. You can see there's some details. We don't have like the stitch marks or anything. On the right, we have the iconic Coho 500 graphic, which was Patrick Waugh's last graphic in Montreal. This one is a bit more true to the OG. You can see we have the witness lines there from what would be the stitching. We've got a fake glove cuff, but these are both just custom graphics from CCM's all-out custom package. So we're going to start this video off with the blockers. There are some subtle differences, but these are generally pretty similar. Less differences than with the pads or the gloves. On the left here, we have the Axis XF. So these are both customized. As a reminder, all my gear is customized to my specs the way I like it. Goal of this video is just to try and educate you about, if you're walking into a retail shop, what's going to be stock with each line, or if you are thinking about custom and you get these two things customized to be the same specs, there's still going to be nuances because they're different lines. So hopefully when you're done with this video, you understand, hey, even if I get a tight fit palm on both these blockers, what are the differences going to be? And so the part you don't see is the core of the blocker. It's the motor of the operation. It's the most important part, often the hardest part to talk about. So the XF blocker, which again is the gold one, has the new Light X core. And that is a little bit harder rebound than the EFlex 6. I wouldn't say it's drastically different. It's better, but it's definitely not like going from like a Bauer's Supreme Total one or whatever was their last line, and then they came out with the Odin, were revolution in terms of the blocker capability. It's definitely a harder rebound, but it's more of an evolutionary product. And just guessing the way things work out, I could definitely see a world where EFlex 7 continues to improve upon that, or at least catches up and adds the light core protection. So that's really going to be the main difference between them, is the core inside. We'll also take a look at the sidewall and the backhand to point out a couple of the other subtle differences. If you're a big CCM user but looking at new gear for the first time in a while, you previously might be familiar with bindings on the cuffs, no binding, straight finger protection, curved finger protection, and all of those options are out of the customizer. So what's different here? No options for binding anymore. That's out of the catalog. I find these differences pretty subtle, but just pointing them out. The Axis XF keeping up with sort of a stiffer, maximum coverage kind of marketing story and vibe. You've got the straight protection here versus the EFlex 6. We've got an arch. And the same thing down at the thumb. It's a bit rounded versus a bit square. And both of these have the straight finger protection. If you're not aware of what that is the little extra pad which is under the sidewall there to prevent against pucks ramping up the stick. And so this is straight. You can see the pad there. In the old days, you used to be able to get a big, large angled piece. That's no longer a thing. Straight finger protection is it. Here's another area with a few changes on the backhand and the cuff. You can see here on the left, the Axis has an elastic loop that connects to the cuff to give it a little bit of flex, versus on the EFlex, it is a Velcro adjustment piece, so this won't really give. You can just make it tight and loose, versus the Axis XF should move with your body a bit better. And then on the left side, you have the Velcro, same here, the EFlex with the Velcro. I would definitely prefer the Axis XF design just because it's gonna give a little bit and give you a bit of mobility. If you follow my content, you'd know that I would actually prefer no cuff up there. I personally feel that this piece is just really redundant in today's goalie equipment, and that's why you can see I have mine set as open as possible. I feel like every year a lot of energy is put into tweaking the design of the cuff. Call me crazy, but I sort of feel like it's wasted effort. If you feel differently, let me know down in the comments below. I think would definitely be an interesting conversation to hear. I have a feeling the best answer is that if you played goalie long enough, you know that pucks go everywhere, and somebody's been hit on the underside of their wrist and probably thinks I'm nuts for not wanting the piece, but for my money, I could definitely live without that. On the XF, this piece is suede. It's more of a smooth Gen Pro piece on the EFlex 6. Inside the blocker, in the customizer catalog, they both list a loose and a tight fit. I believe loose is standard on Axis and tight is standard on EFlex 6. I would definitely double check that spec if you're ordering it custom. I order my gear early, so sometimes all of the customizer options aren't available to me, but I would always order a tight fit palm. At the risk of pumping my own tires, I like to think I had a hand in that option, because back when I first started testing CCM gear, I felt like the glove was too sloppy. The glove being this piece here interfacing with the blocker board, and I advocated them to put some more padding between the back of the blocker board and the palm. And next year, I think this was EFlex 5 maybe, the tight fit option showed up, and I was elated to see that. So hopefully it still lives on, but double check that. In terms of what else is different, this is a cream Nash inside of here, versus we have, I believe this is Axe Suede, the gray material, and then some black Nash, and this is actually a honeycombed material. It is not just the smooth like the cream. And then also what's interesting is this, we're talking about stretch or comfort with inner glove. This is almost like a dry fit material, kind of like a neoprene, so it's gonna stick to the cuff of your wrist. So this glove is gonna fit extra snug compared, I think, with the EFlex. But again, I think in practice, they're pretty similar, but there are some nuanced differences. Both blockers have this molded padding piece between the back of the blocker sidewall and the glove, so it's nice and rigid in terms of protection. Last piece to go over on the blocker is the palm. A suede palm is standard on both of these. I went custom with the Sure Grit option, Sure Grip. Just an old dog, can't teach me new tricks. I love the feel of Sure Grip, but as the sticks are becoming grippier and grippier, seems like the trend is to take the grip off the blocker palm and go with the suede material, but I still like Sure Grip, so order that. So both of these palms will come standard with the suede material. You can see they both got a mesh thumb there, similar adjustable cuff, and then signature D3O technology on the finger to prevent the ramp ups. Another subtle difference, you can see the solid piece there. There we have the triangular, probably just a little bit of weight savings and breathability. And I'm trying both of these on just to kind of show you the mobility of them. But again, pretty similar, I think, in function. I do like a couple of the features a little bit better on the Axis in terms of this wrist cuff and adding some flexibility there. But an EFlex 6 blocker isn't going to do you wrong by any means either. And now for the gloves. On the left is the 581 break. The glove on the right is the 591 break. For anybody not following CCM super close over the last few years, CCM for stock retail product went away from the classic 580, 590, 600 explanations for the glove. Reason being is they tried to revolutionize the construction of the goalie glove and are building gloves in an entirely different way. The goal of this was to increase the flex of the glove without sacrificing protection. I would say that CCM looked at it and decided that the way that the glove was constructed is really holding the glove back. For my money, I would give CCM a 10 out of 10 on the try hard scale. I really appreciate that since I've been doing TGN content, the glove hasn't really changed all that much. And CCM is pushing the boundaries of that, thinking differently, pushing these into the market, and really encouraging goalies to give them a try. I have to say, in practice, that's not my favorite glove line. If I were ordering custom retail, I would suggest to you to consider going with your favorite classic CCM break, 580, 590, 600. I'm a 580 guy myself, but knowing that CCM is putting a lot of energy into trying to update the gloves, wanted to track the progress, see what's going. The first version of this, 591, was on the Axis 2 product. That had absolutely no finger loops inside it. That made it a little bit cumbersome to catch the puck. And I believe they made a running model change to add finger loops. And now there's more loops inside of the 591. Basically, it's the same style construction where it's more of a mechanical hinge as opposed to a baseball glove. Try and avoid stingers, try and get better game ready closure out of the block. Out of that, not a whole ton of differences between the glove. It's really just going to be the closure, the same way that if you're looking at EFlex 5 and Axis 1 or whatever, it would be like the stock 590 versus the stock 600. And you can see some of the differences. There aren't the traditional laces running along or through the palm. There's a series of panels, big panel, smaller stitching running through there. What stock is a double T. I'm a single T user, and that's why both of these gloves have a single T. And I have skate lace. The standard gloves will both come with the nylon lacing. So here is the 581 closure. As I mentioned before, there's the very unique palm design. And right now I have a pinky loop on my index finger and my pinky, but not between the ring finger and the middle finger. Can't really show you that, I'm describing it. That's a huge improvement compared to the original 591 on the Axis 2. And I think that this glove or the 591 is significantly better than that first generation 591. I'd just be curious how many goalies like this compared to the traditional glove. But anyway, there's the breakage, like the break-in, the closure on the 580, and I'll show you the 591 next. All right, and here we go, the 591. So you can see it does close pretty easily, kind of a unique way it closes there on the break, and that same sort of panel. I believe the 591 may have been updated a bunch, but it'll be some subtleties in terms of the panels and the way this piece here is constructed. One thing I will say, the pocket with the single T, and it's got a plastic reinforcement there, is absolutely enormous. I do love that about this glove. You can actually see the plastic T reinforcement there on the EFlex 6 design. So if we take a look at the backhand of the gloves, both are going to have this sort of elastic floating cuff piece, which I absolutely love. The more sort of aggressive hands out goaltending you play, you can see elastic strap right there. You will appreciate this feature, so I really like that. The backhands are definitely both refined from the older 580, 590 days, not the 91, but good hard finger padding. This is more of one large backhand versus this is more of a segmented piece, and you can even see kind of a softer piece there for the back of the tee. Both of these function just fine, and I think it goes with the sort of branding or the design goals of the line, with the EFlex being flexibility versus Axis sort of being maximum coverage. So this has more of an articulated panel there. This has more large segments. But if you hit them, they are both nice solid pieces, so no qualms with either of the backhand design on either of them. Next, we'll take a look under the hood. All right, so if we look inside the gloves, again, with these being siblings of each other, very similar construction. Both have the missing wrist strap here for maximum mobility, and then you do have what CCM calls the cross-form strap, which basically locks it very tightly here and then leaves the wrist open for maximum mobility. Inside, we have the suede on the wrist, same as the blocker, cream colored here. Here we have a black hexagon material. And then inside, which is hard to see, but you can see a little bit of gray there with my pointer, you have the Sure Grip material. Sure Grip is standard on both of these gloves as well, not like the blocker where it is an upgrade. Big fan of the cross-form strap, actually. I think that is a nice touch. Once I got used to, with the releases a couple of years ago of gloves with no wrist strap, if I get sent a glove with a wrist strap now, I actually basically wear it completely loose and not functional. So I think CCM did a great job with the cross-form strap. The wrist functionality is nice and comfortable, and you'll have some D3O in the pocket here. So in summary, like I said, gloves are extremely personal preference. I don't want to deter anybody and say these are bad gloves. They're just different. I give very high marks to CCM for trying to do something different and trying to innovate. For me personally though, I wonder if some of this was a little bit of innovation for the sake of innovation. And if I were ordering custom, I would definitely suggest going with a traditional glove. If you're buying retail off the rack, I guess I like the feel of the EFlex 6 with the 581 over the 591. For me, what I think would be a sick glove with CCM is bring back the 580 and the 590, which are still available for custom. When I say bring them back, stock at retail, but integrate some of the newer features with the newer suede and Sure Grip materials. Give me the cross-form strap, give you the nice padded backhand off the EFlex or off the Axis XF. And I think that would be a great glove. Hopefully that will be an option in the future, because although not a fan of the entire 581, 591 setup, there are definitely some nice features. I'd take that T as well. There are definitely some nice features to rip out of that and maybe go back to the drawing board and have something between the current 580 and the current 581 glove. So thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully breaking them up made it easier to follow along. If you could, go buy something at Goalie Monkey. Use the affiliate link in the video description. Helps the channel out. Eventually, if this actually catches up, we'll reinvest that into some additional content. If anything wasn't clear about what's stock or what's not stock, please throw questions down below. Always try and answer each and every single question. This is the GoalNet signing out.